into the Badlands Season 2 premiere, Tiger Pushes Mountain. Very, very cool opening episode for the season. I'm very glad that this show is finally back. This is one of those super long breaks where it was like a full year before we got to see this. Sadly, I didn't get to rewatch the first season. All my other shows have been on, so I didn't end up rewatching the whole first season before checking this out. But I might still end up doing that, even though the first episode's kicked out. But this was a good first episode. I do want to start with the ending because I was like jumping around like an idiot because as soon as they showed Quinn, I was like, I knew it. I knew he wasn't dead. And for those of you who might not have followed my channel until this video, I reviewed the whole last season, and in my season finale review, I was like, we didn't see anything final. Like, in any series, for me, in television, people only die in 3 different ways. They're decapitated, which you get a lot of that in this. You're either decapitated, you die in an explosion, or they do like the dramatic thing where it's like, and they do like that head tilt, like close my eyes thing where people die. That's it. And I was like, we didn't see that. There's no final sequence. I knew he was alive. AMC needs to like up their death game because I was like, I knew Glenn wasn't dead. I knew Quinn wasn't dead. Anyone with an N at the end won't be dying apparently. But I was happy to see that. Now, I knew he was alive, but the fact that they showed him with Veil, that was a twist for me. I didn't understand how that managed to work out because this dude, I mean, the whole first season, this dude is just like a-hole to the max, like beyond any other character. This guy is the worst. So honestly, with him being alive and him being with Veil, it worries me more than anything because I feel like his plan is at some point, I'll have this woman, I'll have this baby, and I'm gonna find Sunny, and then I'll be able to, you know, use them as leverage against him in some way, shape, or form. Maybe I'll use him to, I don't know, get me back to my people because he's, you know, one of the best in the series. Sunny's like one of the best fighters. So I'll use him to kind of become Baron again and stuff like that. I don't really know. But it was very interesting to see the two of them together at the end. But I knew he wasn't dead. I was just happy. I was like walking around, I was like, I knew it. I was like waving my hands like an idiot. It's like it's like almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I was just like, I knew it. I was just in front of my dog just like waving my hands around like I knew he wasn't dead. But it was a really good ending. It was a nice twist ending. I'm excited to see where they take that. The rest of the episode was good too. We got a cool action sequence with Sunny in the beginning where he's chained up. I was surprised that he even lost, if I'm not gonna lie. I was like, alright, he's chained up and stuff, he was still in the thing, he was whooping people up, and then that breaks, and I was like, alright, well, he's out, he's about to like launch people into space now. But then those 2 guys came out with the whips and they got him. I was like, I was surprised that they were able to take him down. But that was a cool opening fight scene. But the best one, without a doubt, was the Widow just slicing people up as she was going up the stairs to get to, I can't remember all the characters now. I suck at names in general, and also it's been like a full year. But she's going after the new Baroness. So that was interesting to see. And I believe Ryder is Quinn's son's name, so he's the new Baron. And of course the girl that he had feelings for when they were both kids, and that whole weird thing. They are officially together. So like just the way they did it, it was like, alright, we get Tilda coming in. She's got this arrow, and I was like, okay, that's simple enough. She's gonna try to, you know, kill somebody. And then she put this thing on. I was like, oh, that's definitely gonna explode. So then that's when chaos starts to reign. I was like, all right, that was simple. And then we see the Widow come in, and it was insane. She was just slicing people up the whole way through. She did her slide, which I feel like is her iconic move to dodge. So she does her slide, she kills the first 2 guys, and then she just goes up the stairway. It's just people getting sliced up the whole way through. And every once in a while I was like, okay, she's gonna do this or she's gonna do that. Like when the first guy came at her and he like swings across the thing and she's blocking, I was like, oh, she can just stab him in the stomach and, you know, he'll fall off because he'll be wounded and he'll die when he hits the ground. Instead, she was like, nope, and she just stabs him through the head. I was like, oh, that was mean. That was mean. Like she could have just stabbed him in the stomach and killed him, but it was like, nope, boom, straight through the head and he's down. She's just swinging across, slicing people up, and then this guy was dumb for doing this, but he lets the Baroness go. He was like, you know, you get out of here, and she goes through the door. And I don't know. I mean, he's like the henchman in like action superhero movies where it's like, I'll be the one, even though I'm a nameless character, I'll be the one to take out this super badass person that just killed like half a dozen people, or she basically killed like a dozen people just in that stairway section. So his magical plan, I don't know what he thought was going to happen. He goes at her and she just, like, and she was smiling too, and she's just slicing him up and she started smiling. I was like, wow, that I thought her stabbing the guy in the face was mean. She's like slices him up and everything, and he's frozen in place with his eyes wide open, and then she just like boom and just decapitates him. I was like, wow, that was really cool. And then she does like this shuriken triangle formation thing because the guys are like a perfect line, and she evenly throws the shuriken and slices all their necks in the perfect place, and they just all drop dead. I was like, Jesus, she just killed I don't know how many people, and it was absolutely insane. And it was just blocks, counters, stabs, slices here and there, swinging around, and she like slices one dude in the front, and then she slices the other dude in the back, because after she threw her first blade, she just had one left, so then it changed up the fighting style, which was really cool, because I just like that. So that was a great fighting sequence, just going all the way up, so that was really awesome. But that was just a really crazy sequence of her just like destroying people, and the wire work and stuff, and her like jumping back and forth, things like that. So that was really cool. She takes back her oil field. So that was like her first big step in the season. But we also find out in between the seasons, because it instantly starts with just boom, 6 months later. So we find out that she's actually been taking in anyone and everyone that decides to join her. She even takes in other clippers from different people. So she takes in, they're cogs before they're officially clippers, I guess. So she takes in cogs, she takes in just random people, and she kind of gives them sanctuary. And it was interesting. It's like, okay, so she's kind of just building up this sort of vast army, in a sense. It's not meant to be an army, but in a sense that's kind of what she's doing. And we also see, and I can't remember the character's name, but we see in the promo for kind of the rest of the season that the dude who's in the wheelchair that taught Sunny how to fight, he actually ends up joining her, and so he has like a cool blue suit and stuff. I was like, that actually looks really sweet. So he's actually on her side now, and he decided to join her, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that did as well, because Ryder isn't exactly as cool as his father where it comes to power and that sort of demanding presence. So it was just interesting to see that in the promo, like he decided to join the Widow, and she has all these people. This is something that I noticed early on, but Tilda has a new costume. She isn't wearing like the blue outfits like the rest of the girls. She's like officially moved up to like basically lieutenant rank, where we have the Widow, and then right under her is Tilda. So I thought that was cool. She has her own full black outfit, and then she commands the other girls. So I thought that was really sweet for her character. But they have the Clippers that start arguing with the Widow, which they were dumb. I was like, I don't know what the heck this stupid argument is for. He's like, what if we don't believe you? I'm like, why did you come here? I was just instantly like, this guy's dumb. Why did any of them come here? They're just like, maybe this is real, maybe it's not. If you came here to get away, then maybe don't question your former enemies. That's a terrible idea. And of course, the Widow was super cool. Like, that's what I like about her character. She was like, she brings in former enemies because they want to take off. She's like, whatever, no big deal. And they decide that they aren't 100% sure, so they get a little uppity. And she's like, hey, you want to go? Be gone. And she lets them go peacefully. And that's when we get this cool scene, and I'm curious where they're going to take it. But Tildy comes in, and she has the girls around her. And it's like, this is revenge. And once again, just boom, straight through the head. And I was like, wow, I didn't see that coming. So she takes that guy down, and she just lets the girls get revenge. And she just slowly walks away, and it's just like, where are they headed with that? Like, I don't think she'll do anything to, of course, betray the Widow, but it makes me curious if she's going to get to a point where she's so bloodthirsty that it has an effect on what the Widow allows her to do, even though she's obviously moved up in rank since season 1. So, has me curious, but I thought that was a great sequence where she's just like, go ahead and just lets them like destroy these guys. So, that was pretty cool. Of course, we have the other side of the story with Sunny actually in this mining prison is basically what it is. And I thought that was cool. So he ends up meeting, I don't want to say the guy's name is like Badgie, I believe, because I remember being like really close to Badger. So it's like Badgie is his buddy, who is played by Nick Frost, which I thought was cool. I noticed that in the trailer. I was like, holy crap, that's Nick Frost in this. So it was cool to see him in here. And we don't really know where it's headed because Sonny's like, hey, can I get a map? And his plan is to, not fill his quota so he can get into this crazy fight ring with the ironically named Mouse. And Badgie ends up betraying him after he knocks this woman out, where he's like, let me see that. And he's like, let me see it. And he just knocks her out, and then he steals her chance to kind of be free for a little bit. But it was hard for me to tell because in one of the trailers he's fighting, and I was like, it makes me wonder, maybe this guy was a Clipper, because I know a lot of people know Clippers, and it seems to be like this big thing where there's a big chunk of society that does know Clippers, and then there's a big chunk that don't seem to know Clippers, because that was like the whole thing about the series, where it's like the Clippers are this, and then you have the Badlands, where it's like who the F knows what's out there, so who knows what these people out, you know, in the Badlands actually know. So it's kind of a weird thing, but he knew what Clippers were, so it makes me wonder if he's a Clipper. And it was funny when he found out, and he looks over to Sonny, he's like, you know, you're a Clipper, and Sonny starts choking him. I'm like he's got like 800 tattoos on his back. Like, if anybody knows, they're gonna see it with him bending over and all those black tattoos on his back. So it was funny he started choking him. I'm like, anyone who knows he's a Clipper is gonna be able to see that without having to hear it. Like, he just took his shirt off and he's got a bunch of tattoos. So I thought that was a funny sequence, but it was hard to say if he was actually being betrayed, because I know they both end up escaping. They even kind of have that in the promo that they both escaped together. So it's hard to say if this is a part of his plan, but I'm assuming it is, to have him taken to some other location because he knows that Sonny can actually fight, and then he'll try to like break in, and then they both break out together because, you know, Badgie might actually be a former Clipper as well. So they both have like some pretty good fight skills, and then they just team up and boom, we're out. So I feel like that might be where that's headed, but I thought that was really good. Of course, we get to see a little bit of MK actually doing his thing as well, and we find out that even though there are, of course, a ton of people who have these special abilities like MK, naturally, as a main character, he's better than everybody else. So I thought that was kind of funny when he ends up meeting the Master, and, you know, she's like, if you can get past this crane without activating your ability, then you're free to go. And of course, he fails at it because even though he's been training for 6 months, he's not that great. And she like blocks his punch and everything, and she hits him with the pressure points, and she like stops his kind of his rage. I don't think they have an exact name for it yet, but she like stops kind of the rage mode by hitting another pressure point and fixes him up, and is like, all right, you've got a lot more training to do. So he goes on his way after, you know, 6 months of anger building up. He's like, all right, yeah, I'm not that great. I'm not as great as I thought. So he does decide to go back to training, and then we have this scene where she, you know, after he leaves, she like rolls up her sleeve and her bone is just sticking straight out, and I was like, holy crap, like she, you know, she took that punch. And I assumed after it showed that, I was like, that must mean that he's stronger than most people, because she wouldn't have taken that punch. She would have just dodged it or something and just hit him with the pressure points after, instead of taking a hit that would pop her bone out and then hitting with the pressure point. She could have just been like, nope, boom, 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 and he's done. So it was pretty clear that she was shocked by that, and they even, once again, that's something they have in the promo where she mentions he's stronger than the rest. But she pushed the bone back in, which looks super gross, and then she just kind of healed it with like flat out magic. Like before, it was like, okay, there's clearly some magical element to this, because what's going on? Like, he's doing like almost like force pushes and stuff from Star Wars, where he's hitting people and they're flying super far. Or he, if I remember right from the last season, there was a part where he literally just like screamed at someone and like, yeah, he like summoned the glass and stuff and like killed somebody. Like, he made glass like float and stuff. So there's clearly magic to it, but she like actually healed herself with magic, and I was like, that adds a new layer to it from, you know, the last season where it was MK just kind of losing his mind. And we got a glimpse of it in the season finale when the people came to get MK, and Sonny was like, you know, I don't know you people, and he tried to fight them, and they like did that triangle formation thing on him and almost like made him explode. So, you know, we got a little glimpse of that, but in this one it was just like full on magic, and he healed. So I was like, or she healed. So I was like, all right, that's cool. They're kind of upping the ante for what this ability is and stuff. So I'm excited to see where that goes. Really good first episode. Great twist at the ending. I can't wait to get the explanation for why those two characters are together, even though, as like I said, I knew he wasn't dead, but why they're together, I can't wait to figure out. So looking forward to this season. This is something that's totally random. Some people care, some people won't, some people have this comparison, others may not. But over this weekend, Iron Fist came out. So this is a big thing where, you know, that's like, you know, it's got its own issues and all that crap as far as the controversy of casting, all that stuff. But I still watched the show. I haven't finished it yet, but going into it, I'm like, this is the martial arts show, right? So I'm going into that, to say the least, it's not really that epic. As far as the fight, like, the story is more entertaining than watching the fight scenes, which is really sad for the martial arts character of Iron Fist. So watching this, it was just like, man, this feels great to see. Like, just cool action. It's fast paced, even if it's slower paced, which it really, I don't even remember a slow paced fight in this show. Like, the slow paced stuff I think had to be maybe Sunny and MK training, and that was about as slow paced as it got, and even that could get fairly intense because of how serious it was. But it just felt good to see this stuff, even with like actual wire work. Like Iron Fist hasn't really used any wire work that I've seen, but even with the wire work where it's clear like that's an unrealistic kick where he flew, really high and he does like a spin kick or something, it still looks better in this. It's still more entertaining. So it was just, I don't want to hate on Iron Fist or anything like that, but for anyone who may have watched it or may, you may be watching it, I think I'm getting to episode 8 out of, I'm pretty sure 13. I think they're all 13 episodes. And man, the fights just are so iffy. Like, there are a couple of fights that I like, and then sometimes they don't even make sense because it would be like, this was a cool fight where he fought somebody and it took a minute because it had some actual weight to the fight. But then it's like, but if I go backwards an episode, he just fought like 4 people and he flew through them in half a second. And then it makes the cool fight dumb because it doesn't make sense how he struggled with 1 person versus 4 people with weapons. So it's that type of inconsistency stuff that makes it an issue for that show. But I felt I had to bring it up just for the martial arts aspect of it, where it's like, man, this feels good to see. Like, I love the first season of this series. I might actually buy it on Blu-ray. I never ended up buying it, but I might actually do that just because I love this show so much. And I'm super happy to see it come back. I'm glad it's finally back. Like I said, we had to wait a full year for this thing. But man, was it worth it. This is a great first episode. Of course, I'm really excited for the story. They showed some more stuff. I mentioned a few times in the last season with some of my reviews. There were moments where it's like, this isn't like some alternate reality sort of thing. This is like a post-apocalyptic future because they have stuff that existed, but it's super old. And in this part, when they're at the mines, the first scene that they show are like, they look like random towers, but I'm pretty sure those were pillars for a freeway. And I thought that was interesting. And then they show, they find like a ring and it's like an ancient object, and there's like, there was some part, I forgot who picked it up, but there's like a little toy car inside of a rock. I think it was Sunny. And I was like, that's, I don't think it will ever be a part of the story, but I feel like it could be. I don't know if they'll ever do that or not, but like there's things that show that this is a post-apocalyptic world that kind of reverted almost back to like some slave plantation stuff, especially in the first season. And well, who knows how much of that we'll really get with the Barons and how things have shifted, and what the Widow seems to be kind of headed towards, kind of ruling everything a little bit, just bringing in so many people that she has this massive army. So we'll see how much of that we really get with the control and stuff. But we saw Quinn's estate is basically gone because Ryder decided to move everyone after things kind of fell apart. So I thought that was interesting. We see everything's, the grass is growing and stuff, and I was like, wow, that's interesting to see compared to the first season. So I'm looking forward to where they're headed with this. But love the action, of course, love the characters. Great twist at the end there, but we'd love to know what you guys thought about this premiere, so please comment below, let me know your favorite parts of these favorite parts, and I definitely want to know, why do you guys think Vale decided to stick around with Quinn, of all people? He's, like I said, he is the worst, but there's some reason he decided to stick with her. Like I said, I assume it's so that, Sunny is the best. At some point, he'll make his way back to us, and then boom, I got leverage with the woman he loves and his child. Like, that's, with his character, that's the only reason I think they end up together. And Vale needed someone to protect her, and she's kind of using him, and she knows at this point she kind of has to escape from him now that she's had the baby. But I think that was the big thing about it. So that's my guess, but I would love to know your theory for why you think the two of them ended up together and how they ended up together. Because if I remember right, at the end of the first season, she just took off. Like, she was running by herself, and he was just like, just on the wall. So somehow they ended up, he ended up catching up to her, and that's how they stuck together. So we'd love to know your theories on how all that ended up happening. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.